Most people think Lamborghinis are a terrible investment, so you buy one, you drive it off the lot, and immediately it loses a ton of money. But here's the interesting thing, some Lamborghinis have actually skyrocketed in value, including mine. Certain models have doubled, some have tripled, and a few of them have become multi-dollar collector cars. So in this video, we're going to be talking about which Lamborghinis have the best chance of becoming a valuable investment and which ones probably won't. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to LamboView. If you're new here, this channel is all about Lamborghini ownership, the finances behind exotic cars, and helping people understand what it actually is like to own one. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you subscribe to the channel. So what makes a Lamborghini go up in value? Before we talk about specific cars, it's important to understand why some Lamborghinis go up in value and why others don't. There are usually 4 different things that matter the most. The first one is going to be your engine type. Naturally aspirated engines are becoming more rare, especially as Lamborghini starts moving towards hybrids. A good example of this is going to be your Gallardo, your Huracan. Those are, of course, your NA V10s, which are going to be high demand as the years go forward. And then the newer hybrid models are going to be the Revuelto and the Temerario. The second thing to mention is going to be production numbers. So if Lamborghini makes a ton of a certain model, it's usually harder for that car to become more rare and more of a collectible. The third thing is going to be a historical significance. Things like the last V10, the last NA aspirated V12, or the first hybrid Lamborghini can make a car more important over time. So I guess you could say that each Lamborghini has to kind of have its own special story or own special niche that makes it different from all the other supercars. The fourth thing is going to be special trims and rarity. Limited editions always have a better chance of appreciating. So let's talk about the Gallardo first. The Gallardo was the first generation of the entry-level Lamborghini. So this was Lamborghini's best-selling car for many years, and it really helped modernize the brand under Audi, because we all know that Audi did buy out Lamborghini around the Gallardo days. It's also naturally aspirated V10, which already makes it appealing to collectors. Now, the base model were produced in large numbers, but certain versions like the Superleggera or the manual Gallardos already started to climb in value. So the Gallardo could definitely be one of those cars that could become more desirable over time. So if you are somebody who is considering a Gallardo, if you are somebody who knows how to drive a stick, you can best bet that Gallardos like that are going to do very well. It's quite rare to see a Lamborghini with a manual or a manual transmission, but if you had to choose a certain spec of the Gallardo, the Superleggera is going to be a good one. So if you wanted to get a investment Lamborghini Gallardo, definitely try to look out there for the Superleggera. That one is going to be a special one. So the Gallardo could definitely be one of those cars that become more desirable over time. Now the next one we're going to go to is going to be the Gallardo's big brother, which is the Murcielago. This car has been one of the most dramatic designs Lamborghini has ever made, and it's powered by a massive, naturally aspirated V12. But the big reason collectors love this car is because its manual versions. Manual Murcielagos have already exploded in value because they combine a gated manual transmission with a Lamborghini V12. I will say that I've heard the Murcielago on the road before on a Lamborghini rally, and the way that car sounds, especially whenever you downshift it sounds completely insane. The next one is going to be our beloved Aventador, which has the V12 engine. This car was very interesting because it represents the last purely naturally aspirated V12 Lamborghini before the brand moved into V12 hybrids, starting with the Revuelto, which is currently the top of the line right now. Cars like the SV and SVJ and the Ultimate are very highly collectible because those are one-offs. So if you're somebody who has a lot of money to invest into a vehicle, I believe a SV you could get for around $800,000. A SVJ, the last time I checked, was around $1 million, but that is going to be strongly climbing into the $2 millions, I have no doubt. And the Ultimate actually came after the SVJ, but for some reason the SVJ did get more popular than the Ultimate did because the SVJ is known to have better track times. I believe they did on the Nürburgring. And it also has, for some reason, has a more extreme sound to it too. So a lot of people love that. So because whenever a manufacturer or brand ends a era, collectors usually start paying attention, and then as soon as they get discontinued, then the values of those cars tend to skyrocket up. So long term, the Aventador could become a very, very significant investment for Lamborghinis. The next one is going to be an Huracan. This one is my special favorite because obviously I have one. But let's talk about it. Since I actually own one of these, I get asked all the time if it's a good investment or not. The reality is that the Huracan was produced in pretty large numbers, so the base models probably won't skyrocket in value. I believe if you do get a base model, keep in mind the 2015 ones, they're not really your most reliable ones. I want to say the most reliable ones began in around 2019. 2020 was whenever they did the Evo designs, which is the one that I have, and those were known to work out the kinks that the previous generations had. But yes, keep that in mind. The Huracan was produced in large numbers, so depending on the spec you get, it may or may not skyrocket in value, but at the very least, a older one should kind of hold its value very, very nice because it is the last V10 that they are making. But yes, but as mentioned before, certain versions like the Performante, the STO, the Technica could eventually become very, very desirable because they are highly specialized, one-off vehicles, and naturally aspirated V10s. Our sixth one is going to be Revuelto. So this one's the newest V12 hybrid that is the flagship for Lamborghini. The Lamborghini's first hybrid V12 supercar represents a huge shift in the company's history. Because of that, it's possible that this car becomes historically important. But since it's very new, it's still too early to say how the market will value it long term. My personal take on the Revuelto, I do think that the values of it are going to go down initially. I believe you can get a brand new one for pretty close to $750,000, but you could actually get a used one for pretty close to $600 or so, which is pretty cheap considering the fact that the new Temerario that is rolling off the lots is usually spec'd into the 600s or 500 grand as well. So if you were considering a Huracan, I have a strong feeling that the Huracan are going to go up in value even though they were mass produced, because they had a lower entry point in terms of price, and the Temerario is way up there. So prices for a brand new Temerario are in the 500s to 600s if you have a really good spec'd out one. So because Huracans are currently going around $290,000 or $275,000 at this point, there's a significant gap between the two. So I have a strong feeling that Huracans will actually make it into the 300s and maybe also into the 400,000s as pre-owned cars. So at the end of the day, most Lamborghinis should not be bought purely as investments. It can get a little bit tricky. At the end of the day, you should kind of buy the car because you love it. You should buy the car because of the experience of it and the feeling that it gives you. If it holds its value or goes up over time, that's just an added bonus. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. Which Lamborghini do you think will become the most valuable in the future? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you all for the next video.